Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to follow up a little bit on the responses or the discussion that is just attempted to be completed. I'd like to give each of you the opportunity here to perhaps clarify the situation. I think we're talking about Regulation E, which has to do with whether or not you have a fraudulent activity in which currently under Regulation E there are certain types in which your banks clearly would have a liability exposure. But the CFPB has suggested, and I think what Senator Warren was getting at, was to promote the need for CFPB or some other government organization to get actively involved in demanding that you pick up additional liability exposures on what we call, rather than a person-to-person, but rather a me-to-me transaction where someone is defrauded by a criminal who is out to get their money, and they voluntarily decide that they're going to transact or move money from one location to another. Now, based on that, if my assumption is correct, could I just quickly move down the line, and I'll just start with Mr. Scharf. Is it your responsibility to make the decision or to reimburse an individual who voluntarily, even though it's under a scam, is it your responsibility to repay or to get in the middle of that transaction and make someone whole again?
Senator, I think the way I'll answer the question is, I think what one of my colleagues was trying to say is, which is there is a tremendous amount that we can do as owners of the network to drive down the ability for thieves to take advantage of the network. That is what we're working on. That's what we have to do. And at the same time we do that, the education that we do with our customers so that they don't put themselves in harm's way. And those two things should lead to the elimination of almost all of this fraud that exists.
Thank you. Mr. Hornahan?
Thank you, Senator, for clarifying that. On unauthorized transactions, you heard earlier that all of us reimburse. And then the rate of fraud claims, the broad claims, is in the low single digits basis points, which is lower than same as for check. But when a person authorizes a transaction to a third party.
When you say that, a lot of folks have to say, what are they talking about, low basis points? You're talking about a very small percent of less than 1%.
99.98, I think, would be the right math.
99.98 of clean transactions.
There's no claims.
Okay.
Okay, give you a sense. Now, the other thing that you talked about is unauthorized, we take care of. If a person sends the money to someone under the volition, after I think last quarter or month, we sent out 800 million notices, do you know this person that you're sending Zelle to try to stop what my colleague Mr. Scharf talked about. And we're all doing the same thing. And then this person still sends the money to the person who promises to send him some. That's a difficult case, but we are working to make sure the receiver of that is disciplined and kept out of the system. And for that, we've had multiple institutions who won't police their customer base, not able to continue in Zelle. That's what we're working on. But if somebody says, I never authorized this, we take care of it.
Thank you. Mr. Diamond?
Totally the same answer. We would love to solve this problem. I'm sympathetic. No one wants these criminals and crooks, so we'd like to get into jail. Keep in mind, if you simply said that if you authorize a transaction, no matter what, you'll be repaid if you claim it's a scam, think of the problem of that. And that's why you can't go all the way the other way either.
Thank you. Ms. Frazier?
Thank you very much for the question. I think what you're hearing from all of us is that we take fraud very, very seriously. We don't want our customers to be defrauded. We will repay when there is an unauthorized transaction, and we put a lot of investment, all of us, into the tools and the capabilities to try and stop and prevent the frauds happening in the first place and to protect our customers. And it's a responsibility we all take very seriously.
Thank you. Mr. Rogers?
Senator, thank you for your focus on this important issue. And similar to the others on this panel, we do reimburse according to Reg E. We reimburse way beyond that and focusing on our clients and trying to take care of the challenges they're facing. But as I said in my testimony, we also all need to focus on working together, partnership, law enforcement, regulatory agencies to actually catch the criminals who are perpetuating this fraud against our consumers.
Thank you. Ms. Cicero?
agree with everything that's said, and I think I would also say we're all working together to inform, educate, and help our customers in situations that may be fraud to help them understand those situations.
Thank you, Ms. Dimchek.
Thank you, Senator. I'm sorry the other senator left the room, didn't hear the answers. We're focused on Zelle. Zelle is this big in terms of the fraud, and we need to fix it. The banks own it. These unregulated networks are this big, and that's where you need to help. We can't do anything about that. We'll fix Zelle.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My time has expired.
Not wrong about that, Mr. Demchak.